6 strangers surrounded my crying daughter in the middle of a crowded farmer's market, calling her unchristian, cruel, and a disgrace. Why? Because she refused to pretend that the 2 children born from her father's affair were her siblings. And when I discovered who sent them, I made sure an entire church saw the truth, printed in full color, and my ex-mother-in-law was publicly shunned by the very community she weaponized against us. If you've ever been pushed to the edge and had to stand up for yourself or your family, then hit that like button and subscribe, because today's revenge isn't just satisfying. It's biblical justice. My name is Mara, I'm 46 years old, and I never imagined my life would unravel in the ways it has. I was married for over 20 years. I thought we were stable. I thought we were a team. And then, one day, my world cracked open. My husband died in a car accident last year. People love to say death reveals who people truly are. Well, in my case, it revealed everything I never wanted to know. Because 2 days before he died, my daughters, 17 and 15, found messages on his phone. Explicit conversations, pictures, a whole life he was living behind our backs. A woman he had been seeing for a long time. And the worst part? He had 2 sons with her. Babies, toddlers that even my husband's parents knew existed. And yes, before you ask, I was already in the process of divorcing him when he died. My daughters told me the truth, and I could never unsee the betrayal in their eyes. The affair partner also died in the accident, so those 2 little boys? Orphaned in an instant. I knew what grief looked like. I was living inside it. But the grief my daughters felt wasn't just sadness. It was trauma. It was guilt for discovering the truth. It was confusion about what family meant anymore. So they began therapy. They tried to heal, and then came my ex-in-laws. 2 people who had never really been warm or supportive, suddenly pounding on my door with fake tears and demands, custody of my daughters. And on top of that, they expected to move into our home and live with us permanently. The first fight, custody, is now in court. The second one? Not a chance. I will never again allow anyone in my home who thinks they have the right to bully my children. Where we live, there's a weekly farmer's market, fresh fruit, vegetables, eggs, handcrafted foods, and it's always been a place of peace for us. And that weekend, it was extra special. It was my youngest daughter's birthday. Her party is later this month, but I gave her a budget and let her roam the market to pick out anything she wanted. Mostly chocolate, sugary pastries, salted caramel, everything. It was the most I'd seen her smile in months. But after an hour, something felt wrong. That mother's instinct, the one that sits in your spine, told me something wasn't okay. Just when I pulled out my phone to call her, it rang. Her voice was small, shaking, terrified. "Mom, I'm cornered. There are people yelling at me." My oldest and I ran through that market. I turned the corner and froze. There she was, backed against a wall by 6 older women, all of them loud, red-faced, waving fingers in her face like she was a criminal, calling her unchristian, heartless, cruel, a disgrace to her father's memory, demanding she act like a good big sister and obey her grandparents. And then the dagger, "Your father is dead because of you. How dare you shame his legacy?" My daughter folded in on herself. Her arms wrapped tightly around her body, shrinking smaller and smaller. She was shaking so violently I could hear her teeth clicking. Do you know what it feels like to see your child crumble while strangers tear her apart over trauma she never asked for? It feels like fire under your skin, like your ribs are full of broken glass, like something ancient and primal wakes up inside you. I stepped between them so fast, they stumbled back. I sent my oldest daughter to pay for the snacks and take her sister to the car. Then I turned around and stared these women down. Women I recognized from my ex-in-law's church. I told them exactly what I thought of their behavior, their cruelty, their manipulation, their hypocrisy, and they had the audacity to scream back that I was a disgrace, that I should obey my ex-in-laws like a good Christian wife to a man who cheated, who lied, who betrayed us. The shouting got so loud that market staff intervened and asked us all to leave. The women followed me to my car like circling vultures, still yelling until I shut the door and drove away. My daughter cried the entire night. That was the moment something in me hardened. I was done playing defense. After the girls went to bed, I reached out to a friend who still attends that church. I told him everything that happened, the market, the harassment, the emotional abuse. He apologized genuinely, and then he told me what was going on behind the scenes. My ex-mother-in-law had posted a long, manipulative sob story in the church's private Facebook group, claiming, "We left them homeless and penniless. My daughters are cruel and ungrateful. We abandoned their poor orphan grandsons." That the affair children were actually surrogate babies because I couldn't have more kids, and that I rejected them because they were boys. The lie was surgical, designed specifically to avoid exposing the affair, because in that church, cheating is a cardinal sin. People are excommunicated for it. And of course, they receive sympathy. People at that church love to posture righteousness. They weaponize compassion against us. And that was their mistake. If they wanted a war, they were going to get one. But it was going to be strategic, clean, and brutally honest. Because during my divorce preparation, I had collected everything. Photos of my husband cheating, text conversations between him and the affair partner, messages between him and his parents celebrating his cheating. Emails of them bullying my daughters about the affair children, messages calling my daughters bastards. One message blaming them for his death, and legally, because the divorce wasn't finalized, I could share any of it. So the next morning, I drove to a print shop and ordered high-quality, full-color copies. If they wanted drama, I was going to give them glossy pages and sharp edges. Then I spent hours assembling personalized binders that looked exactly like the prayer song packets the church hands out every Sunday. Simple white covers, soft linen texture. Perfectly innocent until you open them. The first page was a full-page photo of my ex-husband and his affair partner making out in my living room. Underneath, ex-husband's name and affair partner's name, a love story. Every page after that told the truth. Screenshots of cheating texts, time-stamped messages admitting the affair. My ex-in-laws encouraging him to continue their abuse toward my daughters, proof so undeniable it punched you in the face. When they were ready, I drove to the church 30 minutes before service. There is a desk where they stack hymn books for those who forgot theirs. Nobody checks them. So I placed the binders there, nice and neat. 20 copies, and then I left. I didn't need to witness the fallout. The gossip traveled to me like wildfire. The church erupted. People were furious. The Facebook group imploded with comments so vile the pastor had to moderate them. My ex and his affair partner were called words I won't repeat. My ex-in-laws were exposed for their manipulation and cruelty. People were horrified that they bullied grieving children. Some still thought I was wrong for wanting a divorce, but suddenly they understood why. Apology letters arrived for my daughters, even invitations to return to the church for support. And my ex-in-laws? They fled, humiliated, isolated, shunned. My ex-mother-in-law posted online about feeling abandoned, about how no one cares for the elderly, about her great son who would have taken care of her with what money. I was the breadwinner. My daughters inherited the insurance and accounts, not her. Justice doesn't always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like truth finally seen. People say revenge is petty. I disagree. Sometimes revenge is the act of finally telling the truth when someone has built an empire of lies around it. Sometimes revenge is simply refusing to stay silent when someone tries to rewrite your story. And when someone hurts your children, you don't just fight, you finish. If you found this story satisfying, if you've ever had to protect the people you love when no one else would, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that silence is not always noble. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying moment of justice you've ever seen or experienced? Thanks for watching, and remember, never underestimate a mother protecting her children.